President Assad, there are a few things we need to discuss before heading into today's press conference. So as you are well aware, you and your government have been blamed for the chemical attacks on Khan Shaykhun. So in preparation, there are a few things we need to emphasise to the press. Okay? So first of all, we must explain that Syria is not responsible for the attack, and also that we do not have any possession of chemical weapons. We need the media to look closely at the facts, so that Syria handed all of their chemical weaponry over to the OPCW to be destroyed back in 2013. And if the journalist asked, you can say that it included the disposal of 75 cylinders of hydrogen fluoride. Therefore, we can easily justify that you were not behind this attack. So initially, you did come out saying that it was the Syrian rebels who committed this atrocity, but I think the best and most justified way we can frame this is that if we say it was America. Even though he's going to be in the room, we need to undermine President Trump, so our agenda must be to push the blame in his direction. We need to frame it so that the media believe that Trump specifically orchestrated this attack, just to provide a pretext for his ordered missile attack on our Sharat air base. He says the missiles were a necessary retaliation against Syria, but if we can challenge his credibility, we can prove his retaliation was all fabricated to allow him to attack. It must be made known that Trump's bombing will hamper your government's ability to fight the militant groups, as severe damage was done to Syrian aircraft and support infrastructure. Say that this move on our airbase indicates that Trump is working hand in glove with the terrorists. So here's a copy for the conference. I suggest you use statements like the following. So it was all a fabrication, I have been falsely accused, we aren't clear whether this attack even happened, and we would never unjustly kill our own citizens. There is also a possibility that the videos of the attack were either old footage or completely fabricated, so you might want to make that a little bit of a point, as I think President Putin might as well. So Mr. President, your international credibility has been badly damaged by these accusations, and regardless of what the journalists ask, I feel like if you deflect questions with your own answers, that might be the way to go. Be sure to reiterate that you aren't responsible, you were not in possession of chemical weapons, and that America 100% fabricated the whole thing. A press conference is also perfect because the media can scrutinise Trump, and because he doesn't listen to his spin team, the journalists can catch him in his lies. I think we've covered everything necessary to shoulder the blame of this attack, so all the best, President Assad.
President Putin, it's extremely likely that the press will try to challenge Russia on its position on the attack on Khan Shaykhun. We suggest that you shift the blame to the rebels, perhaps by claiming that the explosion was actually the result of government bombings on rebel factories where chemical weapons were being made. That way we can position the rebels as the enemy. If any questions do arise about the credibility of your claims, it's important to insist that this increasingly conflicted environment creates difficulty in presenting a final exact solution. Many of the cases are still under investigation by the UN and the OPCW. So while you're not making a direct claim that the rebels were to blame for the initial chemical incident in Khan Shaykhun, you're simply suggesting that a range of other causes are possible. Our position in the disarmament deal between Syria and the United Nations is a really important element to the conflict. Be sure to draw as much attention to the previous destruction of Syria's chemical weapons as possible. Reminding the press of the involvement of the OPCW as well as the international watchdog is the best way to deflect any claims that chemical weapons have been used by Assad's government since then. You must also remind everyone that this attack benefits terrorists. It has complicated the relationship between Syria, the United States and Russia, which is ultimately good news for terrorists. As you would know, Prime Minister Medvedev has taken to social media to express this belief. It's important that we present ourselves as united over the cause against Trump's attack. Finally, you must promote the idea that the attack was not in line with international law and that it was under a trumped-up pretext, as the Foreign Minister has stated. The lack of clarity around the initial attack will allow you to draw attention to the possibility that the US actually fabricated the initial attack, so this could have created a pretext for an unnecessary strike. Syria will no doubt also back this concept. So to sum up, you must carefully choose your words at the press conference. the disarmament deal will no doubt be brought up. So at this point, it's important to insist that the International Watchdog and the OPCW were involved, because that way we can push the idea that there was witnesses at the event, and that does increase our credibility for the claims. Use terms such as fabricated, conflicted environment. It's just the best way to utilise the power of the media for our cause. If any problematic questions do arise, we will have responses at the ready for you.